Welcome to Winder Works, the official podcast of the City of Winder. Join us today as we go behind the scenes to learn from the people, projects, and progress shaping our community. Now, let's get ready to dive into the initiatives that make Winder a great place to live, work, and visit. Our guest this month is Miss Michele Melville, our customer service manager in our customer service center. And I'll go ahead and introduce you and say hey to you, Michele. And if you want to say hello to everybody out there in our listening audience.
Yeah, hello, everybody. And Jonathan, thank you for having me.
Glad you're here. Before we jump in and get into some questions that I know people are dying to hear the answer to, you want to share a little bit about who Michele is and what you do every day for the City of Winder?
Oh, how much time do we have?
We joke, some of the podcasts are a quick drive to work, and some of them are if you're driving to Savannah for a conference. We want you to be able to have the whole experience.
Oh, boy, yeah. Well, so a little bit about me. I have been with the City of Winder for a little over 10 years. Okay. I started out as a cashier and then moved to customer service rep and then to billing. So I have done every job there, which helps me do this job now because having an understanding of everything in your building is a good idea.
So what is your job now? What does your day-to-day consist of?
Day-to-day, it's lots of emails. It's normal department head stuff, but then throw in customers constantly coming in your office or, it's a lot of customer issues. Of course, we have to do the normal budget stuff and, making sure everything's okay with the building. It is an older building. And making sure, everybody there is trained and has the tools they need to do their jobs. I do have a lot of newer people, so normally it's just one or two new people, and we have a lot of seasoned people who can kind of guide them. But since I've taken the position, everyone is fairly new, so it's everybody learning together. So it's been interesting, but I think we've got a good crew now.
So what would you say, what are the different services that you all provide at the customer center? I know you just said, you can pay your bill.
Yep. So at the customer center, you can pay your bill. We service utilities for about 22,000 customers. It can be water, sewer, gas, garbage, or any combo of that, depending on where they live. So they can pay their bills there. They can come in and pay property tax. Okay. We take lots of payments for the finance department as well, a little bit for the fire department, and everything in between as far as customers coming in. And it could be, I have a question about my bill. I have a leak. I can't pay my bill when it's supposed to be paid, all sorts of things like that. Or just even general questions about anything, and we answer everything, that we can for them.
I can understand that. So you said you've been around for a better part of a decade, let's be honest. And how have you seen those services and what the city offers and, to deal with customers? How have you seen that evolve during your time with Winder?
I think it's evolved in a wonderful way. I have seen it go from, we have 3 different due dates, so 3 different, cutoffs, which is like probably the worst part of the job. But I have seen that go from when I started here to, people coming in and being super upset about it. Not that they're not still upset, because that's an upsetting thing to have happen to you. But I think it makes a difference when the people that are responding to that are responding with empathy and, understanding. And as I try to tell, our customer service team, you have to be an active listener. To me, that is the most important thing, for customers and just for each other. Like someone's yelling at you or just very upset and you want to, try to intervene to get your point across. But I try to encourage them to not do that and just let the customer just totally finish what they're saying. And you're listening to what they're saying and, and then try to help them the best that you can.
So say I'm an angry customer, and it's not Michelle's fault, obviously, but I get a bill. And
it's always my fault, Jonathan.
Well, I didn't want to say that to everybody because I didn't want to throw you under the bus. But now that everybody heard that, y'all remember that it's always Michelle's fault.
Come see Michele.
But so I'm an angry customer. I get a bill, and the first thing I do is, there's no way I did this. There's no way I used that much water. There's no way. And I'm going in there right now. And I'm, bypassing the counter and I'm going straight to your office. what would you do to help that customer just kind of understand, obviously you want to de-escalate a situation and that can't happen every time, but how would you handle a customer like that comes in?
Well, first of all, if they come in hot, as you said, you don't match that energy. I mean, that's your first almost trigger instinct is to do that, and that's the worst thing you can do. I usually just try to remain calm, have a calm voice, introduce myself, ask them their name, and the first thing I usually say is, how can I help you? And I can tell sometimes that throws them off a little bit, and they're like, oh, she's asking how she can help me. That's wow. They weren't expecting that, Really, I think a lot of that anger comes from either their dealings with other customer service where maybe it's not, they're trying to get help and they're not getting it, or they're getting a bad, vibe from them. So I try to change that when they come see me, and I'll try to just explain to them what happened.
Okay.
Because we can pull up someone's, say it's water, for instance, you had a big water bill. We have a way to, pull up and look at their usage, and I'll have them come around and even like visually see it. And a lot of times they're like, oh, I guess my toilet has been running. I didn't realize that, that used water. And why would they know that? I never knew that until I worked here. So I think it's just educating them and listening and doing everything I can to help them. If they need help paying the bill, we can get help from church of the month. We can give them more time. I can do a contract. We can do a leak adjustment. I mean, we can do all sorts of things.
So you just kind of touched on something that I don't know that the public really understands. And like you said, why would they? How does technology really help you all do your job and to provide information between you all, the public to you all? How has that changed during your time here?
It's changed immensely. To be able to have, for instance, for the meters, for the water and gas meters, to be able to have the smart point on there. If you have a meter, for instance, it's in the ground, you have the little lid on your water meter, it's got that black circle. Underneath that's wires connected to the meter. That's basically a little computer that sends reads via satellite, which is how we can assist you in the office, or if you email or call. We can look at, and tell somebody, hey, you were using water, at these hours. We can't tell you where it's coming from, but we can tell you when and how much. And sometimes that helps them just click, oh, I was out of town, but my neighbor was watering my garden and they left the hose on. I mean, it's any sorts of scenarios you could even imagine. Okay. But just to have that technology and to be able to really help the customer, it's amazing. And when I first started working here, when we were doing the smart points, I remember calling Dale and saying, hey, this is my address. Can you go put a smart point on? So I could keep track of what my kids are doing or whatever. It's great. And the website and people being able to view and pay their bill online, that's good too. So,
do all of our meters have smart point on them? Are we 100% in that direction now? And can
I believe so?
And can you kind of explain, what the benefit of that is, like how that reduces staff time and it increases accurateness of what we do, what you all do?
Yeah, I think when I started, I don't know how many customers we had back then. It might have been 15, 17,000 an hour, above 22,000, and we're growing. I mean, it's that number probably changes every week. We have 3 different due dates, 3 different zones, billing zones. And so we download the reads, or we pull in all the reads from everybody's meters. So that keeps the guys from going out and having to physically, read the meter, walk to each address and read each meter. All the reads are downloaded, which we did this morning for a zone. They're all pulled in, we look over them, and then we can tell ones that didn't read. There's some that don't. There's some areas that maybe, the satellite doesn't send reads clearly. But it saves so much time for the guys and girls, technicians, not having to go out and do all that. And it's accurate. It's very accurate. So it saves a lot of time. It's a fantastic technology to have.
So how does that technology help you all and help the public as well? So, if there's a spike, if there's an anomaly in there, what do you do at that point? Where does the human component come into that once you see something that may be an outlier, so to speak, when you pull those reads?
Yep. So when we pull the reads in, not only do we send over to utilities the meters that don't read, the billing department, first of all, painstakingly combs through all accounts. They're going to look for...
There's only 22,000, right?
They really do. And they'll send over high usage, and they, go down quite a ways gallon-wise, and really delve into the accounts to see, and they send that over to have the techs check that out. They do the same for gas. If they normally have gas usage and they have zero, or vice versa, if they normally have water and it's zero. So we do all of that through billing, so when we finally are ready to generate the bills and then send the bills to the customers, they're as accurate as they can be.
Is there a time that you can remember where a customer may have come in and suggested, hey, maybe you could look at doing something this way, that you all heard and you were able to maybe implement that for the public to know that we're listening to you, that we are here to work for you, and we were able to kind of shift some things and shift a process based on that?
Yeah. So a while back, we had a lot of customers saying, we didn't know if they have damaged equipment. Let's say if they hit something with their lawnmower, and damage their meter or whatever, which happens, they'll get a letter or whatever. But now, they had said, if we'd known about it ahead of time. So we do put it on the note section of the bill, to be mindful of that. And I think that's something that we keep on the bills regularly now, like in between, like right now we're doing gas inserts for gas forms of notice. So we put that note on there. But the Smart Point damage one is on there at all times unless we have something else on there.
Okay.
But sometimes still, funnily enough, people will read that and then call and say, did I damage my meter? Like they think we're charging them. Like, no, it's just a notification.
So, I can see that. So can you kind of highlight some of the areas that we will help customers where, hey, I may not be able to pay my bill this month. I lost my job, or I had a medical procedure. How do we help these customers? Because I know people don't understand that we're not out cutting customers off on a routine basis. Like, we want to make sure it costs us money to cut you off, and it costs them, their livelihood essentially. So how do we help them?
So if customers reach out to us before their service is actually interrupted, we can make an arrangement on their account, which delays cutoff basically. So we can do that. We also have the option of Church of the Month, which is graciously done through our Barrow County Benevolence Ministries. They have a different church that volunteers each month to help customers. So we have that information. And I also post it in the lobby as well. So they can do that. I tend to be a very tender-hearted person. So if someone's telling me, I don't have water. A matter of fact, this cutoff this week, I gave people arrangements that were already cut off because their situation was just so bad and they really, really needed help. So I restored their service and gave them more time to pay. So I will work with people. But on the other side of that, any help we give customers or any, issue they may have to keep communication good within the team, we put notes on the account about it. So we're also mindful of that when helping somebody, whether in person or on the phone, do look at the notes on the account to see what has happened prior. To make sure they really, really need the help, which in most cases they do.
Well, and that's a great thing. And I think I can speak for everybody listening that is very well received in the community, and knowing that we do stuff like that is an amazing thing. So I thank you for that. And I hope everybody listening does as well. Walk me through a typical day for you, for just a random Wednesday or Thursday for Michele, for the customer center, that people may not see. They get their bill, they come in, they pay their bill, they move on. But What's a typical day really like in the customer center?
Well, we're open to the public 9 to 5, but we do come in at 8 to prepare for the day. So we have 2 cashiers, and so they balance from the night before. So they're doing that. They are checking the drop box, processing those payments, balancing their drawer. On Monday mornings, since the post office is open on Saturdays and we're not, we always check the mail, the post office twice that day. So we check it Monday morning, but normally we check the post office every day, check our P.O. boxes for the whole city, and then divvy up all the mail.
Yes, people still use the post office.
Yeah, and now back to the technology thing, since we set up service and stuff through email, which we barely did when I started here 10 years ago, there's always just a ton of emails about new service, disconnect, I have a leak, anything they'd come in or call about. Trash issues, we handle all that too. Even though we use Waste Pro, we are the customer service for them, basically for the customers that they service for us. So we do all that. Billing, we have 3 people in billing, which they do all the bank drafts and adjustments on customers' accounts, all the billing stuff, meter swaps, pretty much everything. Setting new taps for all the new homes and stuff that are being built. And then I kind of have my hands in all that a little bit, and I'm still doing my own thing. Lots of emails. I have stuff that I have to do property tax stuff. Right now, Joyce is getting ready to, our tax administrator, she's getting ready to do the tax bills. So we're trying to get ready for that because we not only take the payments, but just like we do our own utility bills, we have a folder stuffer, so we print our own bill, generate our own bills, print our own bills, mail them out. But we also do that for Joyce. She obviously generates the tax bills, but we are folding, stuffing them, and mailing them for her. So,
And there's only, just shy of 8,000 of those, right?
correct.
So nothing much. Nothing too big there. Okay.
Much. Yeah.
So
It's-
I'm gonna kind of hit you with a few fun questions as we kind of get toward the end here. True or false? You can pay your water bill with cash at City Hall.
false.
And why is that false?
Because though you can pay, well, City Hall and the police station are the same building, but you can pay citations there. You cannot pay utility bills there. You have to pay them at the customer center.
That is correct, and we get that a lot. I mean, I get it, and that's kind of what we intend with this podcast is
Right.
we want to help the public understand how we work and how we're helping them. And then there's a lot of misconceptions. And, general public can say, "Oh, I'm going to go to City Hall and pay my bill." Well, we're fortunate enough to you all have your own building,
Right.
And I've been places that doesn't exist, so that's a luxury, and I want to make sure that people kind of understand that.
And I think before I started there, and I'm not sure exactly how long ago, but the customer center, it used to be City Hall. And also the customer center. So that is where people did go to City Hall to pay their bill. So that's probably why they still say that.
Well, if you want, we can tell them that my office is in the customer center, and they can all just come there.
Okay.
We can do that.
I do have a spare office next to me. You're welcome to it.
No, you guys have too much sunlight in there. I'm like a vampire. So if you could, this one's for you. Let's see how I wish we had video right now because I can't wait to see your face on this one when you start thinking of the answer.
Okay.
If you could describe the customer center in 3 words, what would they be? And for those that can't see, you can hear her brain clicking.
You really can.
Yeah.
In 3 words: accurate, kind, busy.
Accurate, kind,
So
and busy.
all of our billing, we try to make it as accurate as we can.
Okay.
I insist everyone just be the kindest person they can be because that's how I am, and I expect them to be the same.
Okay.
And it's constantly busy. I mean, even if you walk in there and it looks like there's no one in the lobby, believe me when I tell you we are still busy.
So how many, if you had to guess, how many people walk in off the street on a daily basis to the customer center? And I know that flows
Yeah.
up and down depending on when bills are due.
Yeah, and when they get a check. So usually around between the 1st and the 3rd of the month, foot traffic is pretty heavy. Due dates 5th, 15th, and 25th, busier on those days.
Okay.
Busier on days we disconnect service as well.
Okay.
And then people just do come in for new service. I mean, not everybody emails. People still do come in, and we still do get a lot of people coming in and paying cash and, bringing checks to us, which, you wouldn't think there'd be that many, but we do.
I
It's
don't even
definitely
have
not as
checks
many.
for my checking account. So
I know. A
it
lot
is
of
a
people
different
don't.
way of the world. There's a
But
reason
it's-
it's called a convenience fee.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty steady.
Okay.
And it's sometimes it's feast or famine. Sometimes it's so busy they can't just stop to take a drink of water, and other times they're like, what can I do? And I'm like, just like with my kids, don't tell me you're bored. I will find you something to do.
And that's very accurate. Just there's always something. And it may not seem major, but for the public to know there's always something going on. There's always work behind the scenes, and I know that we all are victims of seeing and hearing what people put on social media. The point of this podcast, again, is to help the public understand what we do on a daily basis throughout the city and in various departments. One thing I would like people to understand, and maybe if I'm wrong, please correct me, that if you have a problem in terms of your utility bill, ask questions. Don't wait till it gets too late. Reach out, have a conversation.
Yeah.
And don't wait 3 months down the road until it's too late. Like, you communicate with the customer center, let them know, as Michele said, they're there to work for you and with you, not to work against you. So
Correct.
yeah. That's accurate.
And
Yeah.
I know some people, have an issue or a question, they're upset about something and they're posting it on social media, which is their right. But also you could just call us come in or email us with whatever question or issue or problem you have.
Okay.
And we will help you.
As we close out here, if you had to leave everybody with just a message about the customer center and what you all do for Winder, and let's be honest, you guys have customers that are in unincorporated Barrow County and other places as well, not just within the city of Winder. What's that message? What do you want people to walk away, that have listened to this podcast, taking their kids to school or walking their dog or cleaning their desk? I don't know, whatever they're doing when they listen to it. I just hope they're listening to it because it is very informative. Yeah.
The customer center, we are here to serve the community in whatever aspect or question or need you may have. I mean, if we don't have the answer, either I can find the answer, we'll help you any way that we can. It's funny you said dogs because we have a lot of people that actually come in with their dogs, and we love that too, and their kids. Come in and see us, and a lot of times we're the first impression of the city. Just that's people's first impression of the city, and so I do try to instill that into our customer service team. Is that you sometimes are the first impression of the city, so make it the best one that you can.
And how is that taken from staff? How do they reflect that when people come in?
Well, I think
Good.
As a leader, I am a servant leader, and I also like to lead by example. So sometimes you have to really dig deep, for kindness, if it's not being reciprocated. But still, you don't ever know what someone's going through. So,
and you hit it right on the head. You don't know what they're going through behind the scenes. You only see their problem in front of you.
Right.
And it doesn't take much time just to hear them out, just to listen.
Exactly.
Sometimes it's a no. Unfortunately, sometimes in this business, that is what it is. But the delivery of the message,
right.
The Winder way.
The Winder way, you're right.
So to speak.
Sometimes when the delivery is no, they still will walk away happier than when they came because someone listened to them. And sometimes that's all somebody really wants, is just to be heard.
And we can't always help everybody, but we can definitely
Correct.
treat everybody fairly.
Absolutely.
And I appreciate what you all do. And I hope that the people that listen to this kind of understand. And if you guys need Michele, she just said it. You guys heard it. Come in. She's got an office right there, and they're willing to help anything city related that they can.
Absolutely. Come in and see me. I would love to meet you if I haven't already.
There's only 22,000 customers. You got time for that?
I've got time. It's fine.
All right. Sounds good. Well, thank you for joining us today, Michele. And we look forward to talking with everyone next month.
All right. Thank you, Jonathan.
Thanks. Thanks for listening to Winder Works. We hope you enjoyed the show today. Stay informed by following the City of Winder on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And make sure to visit www.cityofwinder.com to learn more about Winder, the City of Opportunity.